we're live. Hey everyone, this is Ziga and Tomaz from OriginTrail tuning in to what is our first Ask Us Anything. This is something that we kind of came up with due to the fact that we wanted to get more personally even involved into a lot of questions that we've been receiving recently, but also do it in some sort of a more structured way. So we hope that the first one's going to be an amazing pilot, which is going to be then followed by a lot of good episodes as well. Of course, this is not to kind of substitute other types of communications that we've had already. So all the newsletters and the reports that you've been seeing will still be there. They'll still be going on. But in addition to that, we'll also be kind of trying to do this Ask Us Anythings once a month and try to just get through as many questions as possible. We've been going through the questions that we received. It's been quite a lot. So I don't think we'll be able to tackle just every single one of them, but we will do our best to kind of go through as much as we can in what should be around an hour of answering these questions from now on. So. And I think, yeah, we can, unless you want to add something, or we can just kick it off with a couple of them and see how far we can make it. It is the first one, so bear with us. But yeah, okay. So we'll start off with the where do you see OriginTrail in 5 years, and do you see adoption by big stores? So let's maybe just change the stores to larger corporations and larger industry players. Think it'll be easier to. You want to take this one, or should I?
Yeah, I mean, where do we see OriginTrail in 5 years? I think we have very positive prospects since we see a lot of bigger players implementing blockchain in their supply chains. Now there are several bottlenecks in general in industry that we are aiming to tackle with OriginTrail protocol, and these bottlenecks are actually preventing companies to implement blockchain or any kind of decentralized solutions in their businesses at a scale. So what we see right now is that businesses are being very much successful in implementing implementing proof of concepts, and these proof of concepts are typically conducted in a very kind of lab environment where you can very much control all the variables. Now, what is kind of the main hindrance here is that companies oftentimes, when they try to connect themselves with other companies to exchange data, and this is actually the main prerequisite if you want to reap benefits out of blockchain solutions, you need to connect several data silos. And this is where companies often fail because they don't have this interoperability of the data in place. And this is kind of the first challenge that OriginTrail is tackling with its with the GS1 standards that it's using. Now, the second hindrance that we see is that oftentimes companies are not willing to share data. And this is, again, something that this is where OriginTrail comes in after companies want to successfully implement blockchain solutions, beyond proof of concept. And this is where we provide several different ways of encrypting data. One of kind of, let's say, flagship ways of how we encrypt data is zero-knowledge proof. And we have been also talking about zero-knowledge proof in one of our blog posts. I think it was published back in April or March. You guys should check this out because it's a very detailed way of describing how zero-knowledge cryptography, which was initially used in Zcash, can be used in supply chains. And OriginTrail is one of the first companies that has successfully implemented and demonstrated how zero-knowledge proof can be used in order to protect crucial data. And this is kind of the second hindrance we see when companies want to use blockchain, but they are unable to attract their adjacent partners in their supply chains. So we need to make sure that once data is exchanged, that sensitive data such as mass balance and of course the data that might be related to your suppliers is protected, because that way you don't lose the competitive advantage. And of course, several other hindrances that OriginTrail is tackling successfully. And once we have all this covered, we believe that OriginTrail will be a preferred solution for even the companies that have already started using blockchains for the proof of concept purposes, because they will see it as a very crucial part in order to continue their implementation efforts for the decentralized solutions.
Yeah, I think so. It goes in that, and if the question was within the 5-year framework, for sure, if and when we're delivering all this value, we should see kind of large strides of adoption already happening in that time frame. Also, by if we go on the second part of the question regarding the big kind of industry players who are already entering the space, but in the 5-year framework, for sure, there are going to be more. There's going to be larger scale implementations beyond the proof of concepts, which OriginTrail as a global kind of as an aim to be a global use protocol is definitely an integral part of that one. Cool.
So
number
the first
one
question is covered.
Second one, what is the company's business and strategy plan for the rest of the year, and how do you see this company moving forward? Yeah, so I think we've covered a lot of the kind of at least general things within the first question. But if we're talking more specifically within the kind of current year framework, I think we've been some of the activities that we've been doing or are doing today and will be by the end of the year have been covered already in our previous communications. A lot of what we're doing now is really focused on, especially on working with the companies, how to ensure adoption that's going to happen and how to attack all the hindrances you mentioned before. Not only within kind of the team within OriginTrail as such, but also how to really incite other actors to be able to kind of work within the ecosystem and employ either their resources in like human resources or capital resources, and then use the protocol to make adoption happen. So I think that's kind of like the two of kind of in the direction where we're gonna be also heading by the end of the year is really how to help all these different stakeholders. And we just launched yesterday the Trace Alliance website, which is one of the things that we'll be doing kind of on the ecosystem level, and bring in different companies and enabling them to kind of work together and to be able to collaborate, but also on other more kind of direct activities also within other markets. So.
I mean, sure, we're implementing decentralized solutions should inevitably entail many other stakeholders, and oftentimes you need to include different companies. And when you do that, you need to be able to do it in an economically sustainable way. And OriginTrail mission is global, and as such, we need to make sure that also other partners are vested. So what we are seeing now is, and that's very positive, that other partners from Asia side and also from the US are even willing to take over certain implementation costs on their own shoulders. And this is very encouraging, because for that reason we will not need to scale, at least not in a short term, our team globally, which is very much impossible. No one has done it yet, because this the way we aim to grow the adoption of the OriginTrail protocol is not through this old M&A style that big corporations are pushing forward. It is rather through inclusion, and as Tomaz pointed out, Trace Alliance should serve this purpose. And as you have seen, we have onboarded some quite important companies. Some of them are actually global leaders in their respective fields. But of course, this group is being updated basically on a daily basis. And kind of the main bottleneck we see here, it's not created by us. It's created by the old corporate structures and the legal frameworks we need to take into consideration. So we need to take into consideration business cycles, but apart from that, we have a very sound strategy as to how to attract additional interest from the industry.
Yeah, I think a lot of that will also be communicated going forward. So there will be focus on that over the next couple of months as well. So you'll be able to follow that. Are you trying to hire more people this year? If so, where and for which roles? Yeah, I mean, we are expanding the team of course, not in a way that we'd be like Ziga said, to kind of be just going out and hiring people all over, because it is important for us to kind of keep the the vision and then the mission of the company very well aligned within the team members. But we are always looking for highly competent people that have an interest in the field and are kind of the best in or amongst the best at what they do. So our talent pool is constantly open for applications, and it's not something that's a placeholder on the website. We do check every application that comes through and see and then consider it either well, not immediately probably, because then we look at what are the needs or the current needs of the team, but definitely whenever there's a position open. We just had one position for the business development that was open over for the last couple of 2 weeks or so, and there will be more going forward. So I suggest the best thing is to careers.origintrail.io, I think so. I'm not sure if the website is correct, but there's definitely like a link somewhere in the footer of the website, so you should be able to find it. And yeah, if you can apply there, we'll definitely keep you in the loop and or give you the updates once they're available. But definitely hiring, so do come in.
Yeah. I think we should,
the next one is
to another question.
How would you describe the culture of the company? So you can take this one. I'll take the next one. Start.
Yeah. So basically, since the end of the ICO, we have been looking for very successful and talented people, not only from the the engineering part, but also from the business development side. And the aim here is to create a group of 20 to 30 individuals, which will take over basically leadership roles in the future. It is not enough for us to just grow the company up to 50 people and that's it, because with the global mission you need to have the best people on board, and that's why we are being very mindful as to which individuals we let into our company, because those are the individuals that are going to shape the culture. And right now the culture is very much aimed toward achieving results. As you have seen, we have always reached respected the deadlines when it comes to development. We have always achieved more. Now certain things have not yet been communicated, since the nature of B2B dealings are such that you are not allowed to communicate everything that is being achieved. But I'm being very confident right now that that team is doing extraordinarily well. Not only because several of them are actually working from vacation. Just the other day we have had a corporate retreat, and Maya and Anje have taken a day off for us to be able to come into the spa they were at, and we
day off from vacation.
Day off from vacation. But rest assured, guys, we're gonna get that day back. Thinking as to what the future of this business we're building will be, and I'm not sure if Tomaz, you have anything different to add, but I think that the people that are coming in right now are being vetted by the existing group of individuals working with us. So I think even with the new hirees, the culture of hard work and delivering results on time will be delivered and continued in the future.
For sure. Yeah, another one related to the team is what is your day-to-day work in the office like? So how is your time spent between different tasks, daily operation, business relations, events, travel? Yeah, it's a very dynamic, obviously, work schedule, and I don't even know how to average it out because it changes from week to week. We always try to segment certain tasks and what we do in order of the priorities that are at the moment, or in that should be on the highest level. So we look at it and at framework from three layers. On the top level of the vision, what we're trying to do, the strategy and the tactics or day-to-day things, and then through that we also see as to what we have to tilt our work schedule in the particular week. But with the travels and building out this global network and global presence, of course, it takes a lot out of your day, and it sometimes requires a lot of odd hours, working schedules, taking calls later in the evening or earlier in the morning, or even over over the night sometimes, especially when we were stretched out on 3 time zones. So there's a lot of you need to be able to understand it's a dynamic workplace. So kind of we are following that suit. And yeah, the best answer I guess would be that it changes a lot, but always trying to keep an eye on what the priorities are at any given time. Yeah, the next one is in our opinion, what mistakes have been made since the ICO, and how do you reflect on those, and have you made adjustments and or changes forward?
Yeah, so as you have nicely kind of set out three layers: the vision, strategies, and tactics. I believe that at the vision level, we have a very sound vision. And at the vision level, of course, mistakes are not tolerated, because if you kind of make a mistake there, then you're not doing anything. But I think with the vision of delivering decentralized solution in a scalable way, whilst of course taking care of the integrity of the data exchange, makes a lot of sense. And this vision has been validated not only through the talks with the companies, but with actual implementations. And we see a lot of positive signals coming out from the market. So we believe that at the vision level, there were no mistakes, there are no failures. Moving forward to the strategy level, of course, strategies could be short-term, mid-term, long-term, and at least for the long-term strategies, no mistakes, no failures have been visible. And of course, when it comes to shorter or mid-term strategies, you need to allow for certain changes if certain strategy is being outdated, and then you need to kind of replace it with something new. And this type of strategic failure is something that might happen to us in the future, in a way that certain strategies might become obsolete, and then we will change them. That's something that we are willing to do. Whereas at the tactical level, mistakes, I would rather put it, failures should be tolerated. Actually, the failure should be encouraged at the tactical level, because you must not kind of shy away from changing certain stuff, from trying out new tactics. And I would even say that from certain perspective, at the tactical level, we're making smaller mistakes on a weekly basis. But this is something that is enabling us to gather crucial learnings and then adapt. Bless you.
Bless you, Nino just needs the heart. It's live.
That was not a mistake. That was just yeah. But at the tactical level, of course, we need to be willing to accept certain failures that we do and admit them as something that should be changed. Because this is constantly improving our organization. Now, pointing out certain kind of tactical failure. Of course, as you have seen, the landscape is changing very rapidly, and certain kind of communication strategies that we're taking as the flagship communication means might not be as efficient, at least in relative terms, as the ones that were, let's say, used in the pre-ICO phase. So right now we're being faced with increased demand from the market, and for that reason we need to kind of revert certain resources we have in terms of communications towards working with companies. And if we had continued if we continued to disregard this increasing demand from the market, that would have been considered as failure. But we were quick enough to recognize that this should be changed as quick as possible, and now I think that the things are improving very, very quickly. And yeah, that's
I think it's good. Yeah, I mean, if we wouldn't be making mistakes, it wouldn't be working. So of course, there's gonna be some probably pretty often. Yeah. This one is good. What are you afraid of? That's a good question. And come to think of it, is the kind of being afraid of is a strong word, but it's still it makes sense. And what we see as a danger or a challenge of the entire industry at this point is really how to make sure that certain use cases that are in the industry, or that are being made, that maybe don't have real value at the core of why they were set up, don't outpace those that actually want to create something. So I mean, we don't want to go pointing fingers at anything, but we sometimes you do have a feeling that there's like that blockchain technology or decentralization is not used in a way that it could show the best value. And this can be, if this would to be widespread, then we could come to a situation where companies or larger enterprises or corporates just won't be interested in trialing this type of technology anymore, because it'll be deemed useless or just not providing value, which could really kind of hinder the speed of adoption in let's say midterm. But if we are able, and that's a kind of legitimate fear, at least I feel, and what kind of to alter it or try to kind of outpace it is really to be faster than that, and really come up with tangible value as soon as possible that can then start to kind of counter any that type of arguments. But that's one of the points that could be pretty scary. All right, what are the most important lessons you have learned in 2018?
Yeah. All right.
Take it.
Definitely, the power of decentralization is something that kind of surprised us all. In terms of how you can leverage community and the power the community has. The community side, and are being educated by the community. So whatever we read about in Telegram and Reddit is actually educating the industry stakeholders, and this is something that is completely impossible to have this kind of privilege if you are building a proprietary solution. Now, we had been building proprietary solution until late 2017, when the development of protocol started, and it was much more difficult and much more costly to reach out to the companies. So business cycles were much longer. And now, with the power of community and decentralization, it is much easier to reach out to the market and do something beneficial for the industry. So that's kind of the most surprising thing, and the biggest halo effect that we had in the company.
Sure. Just you can be much stronger with the community. Are you going to seek more funding? So we've even at the ICO level, we've allocated 20% of the entire distribution for further development. But the need for the additional funding to develop the protocol will really be assessed at the end of the kind of the first cycle. So we feel it's a bit early to be really going deep into that, since we're only 6-7 months now into developing the protocol itself. So that's one way that additional funding could be provided here. Well, the different point is for the ecosystem, where we see of kind of adoption implementation to be nurtured. There, it is important to kind of set up ways of how new business models can be developed, or existing business models can be augmented, which then that definitely requires more capital inflow on the ecosystem as a whole. But that is not necessarily directly for the team. This is more for really how to build out these different kind of service provider entities, or integrators, or others that can provide these services for companies that want to implement something with OriginTrail. And this is kind of the capital need that is definitely there for, but that's for the ecosystem outside, not for the kind of the core team. All right. So that's a long one. How is the onboarding of customers and integration partners going? And have you foreseen any issues so far? Yeah, I think you were mentioning a couple of them. You want to go back into that one?
The main barriers to actually arrive to the implementation of any decentralized solution is that you need to educate people in the company as to what blockchain can be used for. And for certain companies and for certain ideas companies have, blockchain does not make sense. So we need to invest more in educating the industry stakeholders. about blockchain. And of course, with the nature of having a decentralized solution, you need to onboard certain integrators for your technology, and this is something that requires us to be able to jump on a plane. And just a day actually after this AMA, we need to fly out to Shanghai and then to Hong Kong to see how the things are going there. But the great thing is that we already have a certain ends when flying there, and actually the stakeholders that we have there in Hong Kong and Shanghai are providing us with basically a monthly dose of additional stakeholders that we are going to be onboarding in the following months. Now we are expecting to see a lot of companies to join this wave of the new wave of how the blockchain is perceived. And this first wave of companies is actually being composed of the early adopters who have sufficient knowledge, and that's why we don't need to invest a lot in this in tackling this hindrance. However, in the future, we will need to be able to leverage the existing partnerships network and the network of integrators in order to be able to better educate even the smaller companies that do not have any knowledge of blockchain.
Yeah, that feeds into the next one, which is given the complexity of the product, with it being something that has to be worked into the end user's use case, rather than being, this is going to become a challenge of making the most difficult sentence. Has to be worked into the end user's use case rather than being an off-the-shelf solution. Have you had difficulty in gaining uptake from newcomers to the idea of blockchain, and can you divulge the overall response? Yeah, like Ziga mentioned, so there's a lot of different kind of different stages that the companies find themselves at when we're talking. Sometimes you come even at the event where you're expected to kind of speak a little bit more advanced at the blockchain, just to kind of more or less realize that the level of understanding is still very, very early. So out of the 100%, only maybe 10% would feel to have a working understanding of even what blockchain is, and then let alone of how to really use that within their particular use cases. So a lot of times it comes down to education and really kind of breaking it out for them, and taking this complex situation and kind of going step by step. But the good thing is that once the brain kind of clicks on decentralization, it's hard to undo it. So every time anyone really does kind of a good job at educating people why decentralization makes sense, then that's a very positive outcome for the entire industry, we believe. And for the companies, it also takes time for sometimes to understand. But on the other hand, sometimes you come and the questions are already very, very advanced, like very technical, very even issues with implementations, basically, which is also something that we take to our hearts. And then that's why we have a very detailed specifications and documentations developed and all that stuff.
We have another long question. Hi, I think your project seems very interesting. I tried to read up on a white paper, but I have very little knowledge of supply chain. Could you please give an in-depth explanation of how your product will help companies make supply chain more efficient? Thanks in advance, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, for this question. For any deep understanding of the protocol, please visit our website and do take a look at the white paper. If you have any specific question in relation to the technology, of course, we will gladly reply to those. But let's just have a very, very kind of high-end overview of how the protocol is helping companies be more efficient. So it's a very kind of it's a very, very high-level description of what we're doing. So what companies have been doing traditionally, they have always tried to attain certain efficiencies by seeking the organizational optimum. Now, the problem with organizational optimum is that you're only taking into consideration data that exists within your corporate structure, while kind of omitting the value that exists if you connect yourself to the data and information that might be provided by a supplier or even supplier. And for us, the goal is not to seek only the organizational optimum, but rather to seek for inter-organizational or supply chain optimum. Now, OriginTrail does that by providing this neutral layer, which enables companies to exchange data in a secure way, so that if they want to protect their data information, they can do so, and of course with integrity, because we do provide the certain consensus mechanism that allow companies to be sure that once data is recorded, it cannot be changed, and at the same time we have a kind of special type of consensus check that is being performed at the protocol level, and this allows companies to perform consensus check amongst the data sets. And once this is done, there's a much higher probability that everything is good with the underlying asset that are, of course, being accompanied with the data. Now, this is not an in-depth discussion about the protocol. Please do visit our website and check the white paper.
Cool. Since the last report, has there been any increase in the number of interested customers? And can you share a number? Yeah, so there's like all the time we're seeing an increase in the potential users of the protocol and companies that are interested in trialing. So just now, today, I believe the quarterly report went out where we announced that over 200 companies already trialed the technology or are playing around with it, have been wanting to learn more about what we do and how they can help themselves by utilizing the protocol. So there's a lot of work in the back that goes in servicing all these different inquiries. I think that's about it. And then could you explain why the Trace Alliance website has been delayed? Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a fair question. We've set the framework for Trace Alliance a couple of months back. And it came out of the need that there was a lot of companies that were coming to us, kind of wanting to do something with the protocol, who as standalone companies just couldn't do it. And there was no way we could handle all of them, all of the inquiries that were coming in. So that was kind of the starting point for us to think is how to create a platform to help all those companies, or to provide them something where they can either find some of the partners that they might work together, or at the very least have some knowledge sharing and access to knowledge, or some, if they are making something cool, that there is a platform that they can show to others that might be interested as well. So that was the starting point. And when we started drafting also kind of the initial framework and how it should look like, there was just a lot of feedback also that we received from the other companies, which are from the partners, and we wanted to incorporate that feedback also in the framework and in the general terms and all these different kind of documents that are accompanying this environment. And so that's why we decided to push a little bit in order for all these partners to feel comfortable joining such an environment, rather than kind of jumping the gun and going sooner and potentially risking of someone having a bad experience with the alliance, which is definitely not something that we wanted, because this needs to be very, very open, collaborative environment in which they enter. Yeah. Did you want to add something? That's good enough.
I think that's
cool.
Good. One US office.
One US office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. office, the main function is to attract, interest and to service the interest from the companies from the U.S. side. But so far, we've been successfully doing that even without having, the official office in the United States. The plan here is to follow a more, economically sustainable way, and seek for the partner that would, be able to offer us space, or even to take over the function of the United States office. And this makes more sense not only from the capital perspective, because you're being more sustainable. It also makes sense because the companies or systems integrators that we're talking to right now in the U.S. market, they have better understanding of how the things are being done there. So right now we're following that path, and we could say that de facto we're being represented in the United States market. We have not yet kind of reached this official a signature of saying, that the office is there. But we are taking care of we are addressing this, and I'm sure that we do expect that in the following months we can offer more information as to where this office will be.
Yeah. And if it's just a question of the market, US is definitely has been good in terms of excitement, and companies are coming in. And another one regarding the regional presences. Do you have any partnerships with Serbian companies?
We're going from US to Serbia.
It's like a short trip. There's a direct flight from New York to Belgrade, so there you go. Yeah, I mean, of course, even a part of one office of OriginTrail is in Belgrade, so there's a presence in that sense. One of our advisors, Srđan Krčo, is from Novi Sad as well, from Serbia, and we're working kind of close with him, and by that also with his company. We're a part of a Tag It Smart, or we've been working with the Tag It Smart initiative. That's a European-wide consortia, but it is led by a Serbian company as well. And one of the cases we've done with them was on the wine, which is from Montenegro, but yeah, it's close enough, I guess. So we're definitely looking at Serbia, and then there's a lot of companies that can find the space within the OriginTrail ecosystem. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be more kind of this type of arrangements popping up in the future as well.
Why does your solution require blockchain rather than a centralized database?
Yeah, I think you touched upon.
Try to be very quick. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Ziga, a lot of what you said was already kind of touching the question. Maybe I can go from the other direction. Is supply chains in general, since the first time they were touched by the computer industry, they wanted to do this end-to-end visibility, and it was kind of like a holy grail that was always evading. Although you had the centralized solutions that were able to tackle that, but what you didn't have is really a situation where you would have a neutral layer in between, which requires decentralization. Every time that any big or any single entity comes, and we were one of those entities that comes and says, okay, I'm going to aggregate data, or give me your data, and then I'll be the one that's kind of creating value out of it, or dispatching it, or making this end-to-end visibility for you. These things just don't happen because companies are not very comfortable giving their data up, and they always know that other actor is appropriating more value than they are. And at the very, very least, which is also the most common question we got, is how can you vouch for integrity if you have the hand over the database? So there's a lot of characteristics of decentralization which feed ideally into what the supply chains have been looking for. And this is why we believe that it's definitely a great change into how you think about making collaborative efforts, like Ziga mentioned before, from a company-centered optimum towards a supply chain-centered optimum. And this is it holds a very, very huge potential. All right, so the one after that is where does a business who uses the OriginTrail protocol acquire tokens? Would they be expected to buy off of the exchanges, or has the OD team set aside tokens for OTC? Yeah, do you want to, or should I? Okay, so the companies that are looking to implement OriginTrail protocol directly in their supply chains. If they're a supply chain entity, they will rarely do it themselves. So they're usually be looking at service integrator, like system integrators or a service provider that can help them do that. And usually those companies are more technically capable, for lack of a better word, capable to perform certain tasks. And one of that also is obtaining tokens off of the exchanges. Kind of what we see as our role here is really to enable quality partners, to enable very credible and legitimate ways to obtain those tokens, also through exchanges, so that the companies can feel comfortable doing that, and kind of bridging that obviously with these technical companies, which are more easily able to perform that rather than maybe a producing or a manufacturing company. All right. Next one. Congrats on the functioning testnet. Thank you very much. It's going from strength to strength, although it's only a few weeks in. How do you plan on overcoming the high gas fees that are currently in play on testnet? Lots of people reporting that 1 ETH is being spent every other day, self included. Do you have a solution already? Yeah, I mean, the testnet is really there to be tested, and we've, knowingly went in with certain solutions that, especially when it comes to kind of smart contracts and then the way they were written, how much gas they're using, and things like that, where obviously we wanted to achieve certain effects, that they function and that they support certain characteristics of the system, but this is not the final contracts that will be once the mainnet is launched. And that's why we have the testnet, so we are able to test several alternatives, and there's already in the works a solution also for the high gas fees that are currently, and this will get addressed for sure. Okay. Another one on the token, which is that the Trace is an ERC20 token. How do you plan to function if the Ethereum network gets congested and has high gas fees? So yeah, I mean, we are an ERC20 and we are using Ethereum because it provides the characteristics again that we feel that our protocol needs. So a blockchain layer which is as decentralized as possible and has the appropriate smart contract capabilities. That being said, we're obviously looking at how things are developed. Ethereum has a lot of plans also on how to tackle scalability issues. There are other concepts that are arising, and the beauty of this open source things kind of is also that a lot of solutions can arise also from just a large community of developers that are tackling them. So to answer is OriginTrail doesn't need super fast or super high number of transactions, because we follow real life events that happen on the field, and they don't. It's not like instant as a financial maybe transaction, but at the same time we're also looking at what is being developed at the moment and what will be the most optimal way to kind of go forward. So keeping the eyes open, but not seeing it as a huge hurdle that would kind of hinder us to go forward. All right. Next one. How does your token? Yeah. Oh, we're 42 minutes in. Doing good. I can have a sip of water.
Yeah. How does your token gain value? And if it does, isn't it a disadvantage to the token users who are using it in their supply chain? Now, this is most probably referring to the rise of the price of the token at the secondary market, and how does this affect the users of the protocol if they, when they aim to use it to store and exchange data through the protocol? And the best explanation is that both token holders and the ones that are using the system, so the companies, are thinking in fiat terms. They are not thinking either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Trace token terms. And also the bidding mechanism. When it comes to the bidding mechanism, companies and the node, the company, the people that are installing nodes and offering their computational capabilities to systems are thinking in that regard. So if the price of the token goes up at the secondary market, of course the adjustment will be made in the bidding price, and accordingly the bidding mechanism will take care that the companies will not pay more for the storage because of the kind of the price volatility. But of course the aim of us, the builders of the protocol, is to make sure that the price as expressed in the fiat terms will not be too volatile. And it is important to note that the price companies will pay for the usage of the protocol is merely a fraction of what they're actually paying for the value they get out of the system.
All right, another two about the.
I think we should be a bit quicker because Maya says that
45 minutes and we still have
15 minutes more.
All right, cool. Let's run through. I lost track of where we are. Yeah. Okay, cool. So are you guys aware about the liquidity issue your token has, and do you have any plans in motion for the new exchange listings this quarter? Of course, we're looking at what's going on also at the secondary markets. Obviously, something that we keep a close eye on, and it's something that also is within our what you call the day-to-day activities. We are in talks with the also with the exchanges, either them approaching us or we're reaching out to them. So really looking for quality partners that can, also related to the question you had before, kind of the how that the companies are able to buy or come into Trace, so they are able to use it. So kind of trying to find partners that would solve that problem for us as well, and kind of also find with that the new ways of how to improve the current situation when it comes also to liquidity. So definitely looking at it and are working towards finding kind of an optimal set of characteristics for these different exchanges or tools that will enable the community and also the others or the new community members that are coming in to really to trade the Trace easily and be able to kind of be a part of that. Do you have any plans in motion for, that was it. The next one is, will Trace always be an ERC20 token? If so, why? I think we've mentioned that before. So we are in Ethereum now. We're looking around as well. How many tokens will be recurred for different kind of nodes? How many trades will it take to run a masternode? When are you planning to make it possible to run a masternode for Trace? All right, so that's like a bunch of masternode questions. We don't have a masternode in the technical architecture of our protocol. There's been a very nice Medium post written on the incentive model for the nodes that are being run on the OriginTrail protocol. So I would suggest to go through that because I think it answers the most questions in the best way. Very kind of a high-level answer would be that the staking that we improved is really that we introduced is really there to ensure that the network gets the value out of a certain node. So you are staking as much Trace as much as the kind of the contract from the bidder from the creator of the offer requires you to do so. So it's a very much more liquid kind of staking mechanism rather than having a certain amount discretionary amount for a masternode. Atomic, will there be a built-in atomic swap on the nodes that we can trade in Trace and we earn for Ethereum to pay bidding fees, so we don't have to manually keep adding Ethereum to our? That's something, to run Ethereum to our nodes for gas. It's a good question. It's something that we're looking into, and it would definitely improve on the user experience. So it's something that is also interesting for us. All right, how do you plan to address the recent communication issues to the community, or more lack of?
I mean, we feel sorry that, if someone feels that there is a lack of communication towards the community, and we're, taking all the measures in order to, communicate with the community frequently enough. And I mean, we are kind of serving the promises we had made in the past. And we're being frequent with the reports. We're being very thorough with the reports. And as you see, what we are now introducing is also a monthly AMA. And we will continue to, have AMAs, both technical and non-technical AMAs in the future. And by doing that, we are not only offering the frequent enough flow of information towards the community, actually the exchange of information, because we also take feedback very, very seriously, but we also want to make sure that we are also increasing the quality of implementation, and that's why we are also bringing the founders in, so we can communicate vision, we can communicate the strategy from the first hand. And we are already looking forward to the feedback you have. And if you have any suggestion as to how we can improve the communication strategy, please be so kind and explain what these needs are, because oftentimes we see, not with all, but oftentimes people are being quite vague in their demands. And it's really good if everybody that has a constructive feedback is kind of helping us understand what the problem is, because then we can actually address the problem.
Yeah. Do you plan on implementing any crypto/newbie focused marketing aimed at the new users with zero knowledge rather than business users with full knowledge? The language is very different, and by bridging the gap, there could be the unearthing of many of new business opportunities. Yeah, it's definitely something that we are that we've considered, or even recently been talking about. It's for sure be a part of what we're going to do over the next couple of months. We're looking to have more clear kind of messages as to what to expect from the technology, and with more and more cases that are being built and with more companies that are coming in, it becomes more evident. So we are slowly moving in that direction where it will be more easier. It will be easier to understand, and we'll have more to kind of show. And it's also even going down to fundamentals. So we've seen that this is a part where we can improve. Going from the, let's say, from the ICO even forward, we were more focused on really this type of audiences. But in order to kind of expand our community, definitely this is something that we look very, very closely at. What's the focus and the most important, in your opinion, regarding marketing/website and communication in general? Oh, that's a wide one.
Yeah, Maya's not here. Actually, she is, but she is behind. In terms of the great thing we learned from marketing, and Maya is a great addict to KPIs and metrics. So she does follow what the feedback is from the community, translated from the data, and what we see that we need to take into consideration not only what we need to do as a company in order to improve the communication strategies, but also we need to take into consideration the current bearish market. And we already have certain marketing strategies and tactics in a pipeline, but these tactics are going to be, they are going to come into full effect after we see that the market has improved. The two of us traveling to Asia now are also taking into account that Asian community is very much important, and we are talking to certain people in order to see how we could potentially involve the Asian community very, very quickly. So we are taking all the measures in order to improve our marketing strategies. But again, at this point, if you see any if you see any room for improvement, please do communicate that back, and we'll try to take it into account.
Yeah, and then I think,
how can I help with the project? Here you go. Yeah. Provide us with the feedback. It should be as detailed as possible. If you have any kind of the pain, if you have any doubt, we'll try to explain what is the current state of the business at the AMAs. At the same time, the team will take care that you're being updated on a daily basis about the what's the current state of the business with the OriginTrail. Plenty of people have been helping us with the Reddit posts, and we have actually met a few of those people. So Flip Dragon from the is a short shout out right now. So if you are kind of helping us with creating content, that's more than amazing. If you are creating infographics, educating other stakeholders, not only within the community but also outside of the community. So business stakeholders, we have also seen that happen. If you are doing this, then a big thank you and heart.
Yeah, I think it's all of the help points that are there. We have seen it in some shape or form. From the development side, people have been active on the GitHub and kind of on the code that we've created, either reviewing it or making proposals as to what could be improved. We're coming up with more structured way to do that. Obviously, word of mouth and just being vocal about the project and what you like about it is always either on Reddit, Twitter, or any other channels that are close to your heart is very positive for us, because we are able to kind of feed off of that, and then also share that excitement with maybe some new community members that maybe are coming in. Coming back to the question, like how to if we're going to be making the kind of more the certain content that's easier to understand. That here as well, we've seen a lot of community kind of pick up certain or provide the net underneath where there's being cross education about the project happening even either within Telegram or other channels. This thing, like Ziga mentioned, business, even business insights and kind of connections for certain companies. We've even had that happen with very, very relevant kind of organizations. So that's always very welcome. And we're happy to act on those leads that you're forwarding in any shape or form. Yeah, so all of these things are highly valuable, and we really appreciate the support we're getting for the community. It's a cornerstone of OriginTrail, obviously, and we look. It's been a great journey already so far. There's so many great things also waiting for the future. So it's going to be pretty exciting, and it's great to have you kind of by our side in that sense. Cool. Are we gonna?
Was that the last?
That
question?
was the last question. Yeah, that's it. Plus, I now press the button and nothing works anymore. Okay.
Yeah, but that was the last question. Maya,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I mean, that was the first inaugural Ask Us Anything. I hope it was good. If not, tell us. If it was, tell us. And we'll be back next month or so.
Yeah, we have tried to cover everything, but if you feel that we didn't go in depth enough, do come back with a feedback, and we'll be even more thorough in the next AMA in a month from now, or with the technical AMA that is going to follow this AMA in.
Not sure when. So
we expect this to happen soon.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye bye.